Hi, I'm Ken McCarthy, also known as Lester Perkins, the director of Jazz on the Tube, and I've got some good news. This book is finally available. Swingin' the Blues, The Virtuosity of Eddie Durham. And longtime Jazz on the Tube listeners know that a couple of years ago we interviewed Topsy Durham, who is Eddie Durham's daughter. Now, the world of jazz is divided into two kinds of people, those who know exactly who Eddie Durham was and those who don't yet. And I think I can reasonably say of the many people that have not gotten fair recognition in the world of jazz or in the world of music or in any world, Eddie Durham's got to be one of the most amazing untold stories, certainly in jazz. Let's do a quick rundown. Starting from no particular angle, because we could come at this from so many angles, he wrote the arrangement to In the Mood. He taught Charlie Christian how to play electric guitar. He actually invented a lot of the electric guitar things that we take for granted today. He was a huge boost to the career of Lester Young because he helped Lester with certain arrangement things that were difficult because of the way Lester played tenor, and made a lot of work available to him that otherwise might not have been at a critical time. What else did he do? Well, he was in the Oklahoma City Blue Devils. He was in the Betty Moten Band. He was with Jimmy Lunsford, writing and arranging. He did essential, really important arrangements for the Count Basie Band. He was a member of that band. And as I mentioned, he was a music director and an arranger for Glenn Miller. What else does somebody have to do to become famous? He was a virtuoso on the guitar. He was a virtuoso on the trombone and continued to play trombone right up until his last days. He died when he was 80, I believe. And that is very unusual for someone to be able to play a brass instrument, especially something like the trombone, that long. He had a technique. Very few people have mastered it. It's still out there for people to take advantage of. If you know any trombone players, they should really do their research and find out what Eddie Durham was up to. What else can we say about Eddie Durham? He's got a lot of fans. George Wine is one of them. Phil Schaap, another one. Dan Morgenstern, another one. So people that really know this music inside and out are huge over-the-top fans of Eddie Durham and Eddie's contributions to the music. Maybe more than any other musician, he helped take the swing feel from the Southwest, from Texas, from Oklahoma, found its way to Kansas City, and then took that swing sound and got it into the big band. And that's why we have the jazz we have today. I think if you took him out of the equation, we would have had a very, very, very different kind of music. So this is the book. It's a compilation. So it's a lot of excerpts of articles, a lot of excerpts of interviews. It's beautifully indexed. It's got a full discography. Basically, every school that's teaching jazz, whether on a high school level or a college level, must have this book. You've got to have this book, and you've got to know who Eddie Durham was, and you have to know what his contributions were. And thankfully, we've got the book. So there's a physical copy, which is available, and then there's an ebook copy, which you can also get too. But if anybody knows any jazz educators, especially people affiliated with schools, if they buy no other book in 2021 for their jazz library, they must absolutely have this book. And he's such an interesting American too. He was raised in rural Texas, at the early part of the century. He grew up speaking Spanish. He didn't even learn English till he was a teenager, and he learned it from fellow band members. His mom was Native American, and he wore his hair in long braids all through childhood. Part of his ancestry is Irish. It's just incredible what his background was, and he's an all-American guy and made huge contributions to the all-American music of jazz. So the interview with Topsy is below. So if you haven't heard that interview, I strongly recommend that you listen to it. And then we also have some clips of some of the music that Eddie did. But the challenge with Eddie is he did so much. and he was behind the scenes with so many bands. I mentioned the big ones, Count Basie, Glenn Miller, Jimmy Lunsford, but he did work for lots and lots and lots and lots of bands, some famous, not so famous. And it was very unusual to give credit to arrangers. In fact, it still is, but it was really unusual then. So it took a real scholar to go through and find the majority, because I'm sure there's a lot of material he worked on that just never got documented at all. But this book has a very, very detailed, I was going to say cosmography, but it's a discography. But, you know, in essence, it is a cosmography because he was really out of this world. So here's the book. Swing in the Blues, The Virtuosity of Eddie Durham. This was a great jazz musician, a great artist, a great American, a great human being, and we should make it our mission to make sure all our fellow jazz fans know who he was. Okay,